Ladies and gentlemen, lean in for a second because I want to tell you something that might just interrupt the way you've been living your whole life. There comes a moment, and this might be yours, when you look around and realize that everybody's been eating off your plate except you. You've been pouring into people, solving problems, showing up, being loyal, being dependable. Yet somehow you're the one running on empty. And if that's you, then listen closely. Because what I'm about to say might be the very thing that pushes you into the chapter you've been waiting on. It's time to focus, and it's time to value yourself. See, a lot of people wake up every day trying to please the world, but they never take a second to ask, what about me? The truth is, life don't change just because you're tired of struggling. It changes when you decide you're worth more than the bare minimum you've been accepting. Let me tell you something. You can't win a race you keep stopping to explain. You can't grow if you keep letting distractions rent space in your mind. And you definitely can't elevate if you keep undervaluing your own gifts. There are people out there counting on you to stay average, stay busy, stay tired, stay distracted. Because as long as you don't know your value, they get to benefit from your blindness. Your life doesn't change until your mindset does. And that truth hits harder the moment you finally stop long enough to see the patterns you've been repeating for years. Most people think change starts outside. New job, new city, new relationship, new opportunity. But the real shift happens long before any of that shows up. It happens internally, quietly, in the conversations you have with yourself when nobody's watching. Mindset is the steering wheel of your entire life, and until you grab it with intention, your days will keep drifting in the same familiar direction, even when you swear you want something different. People underestimate how powerful their thoughts are because they look simple, small, and intangible, but the world you live in is built on what you believe about yourself. Your habits come from your mindset. Your relationships come from your mindset. Your boundaries, your fears, your confidence, your discipline, your resilience, all of it traces back to how you think, how you interpret the world, and what you tell yourself is possible. It's easy to blame circumstances. It's easy to point to the past. It's easy to say life has been unfair, and for many people it really has been. But if you want your life to get up off the ground, you have to stop letting your mind live in the basement. You can't grow with beliefs that shrink you. You can't build a future with thoughts that only remind you of your past. You can't elevate when your thinking insists on staying low. What defeats most people is not the problem they're facing, but the belief that they can't overcome it. That belief becomes a cage, and every year that passes tightens the bars. But the moment you decide that your thinking has to rise, everything else begins shifting in ways that feel almost invisible at first. You start noticing the opportunities you used to overlook. You start distancing yourself from habits that drain you. You start realizing that not everyone deserves access to your energy. You start understanding that your time is limited and too precious to waste on people or situations that don't help you grow. Mindset determines what you tolerate, and what you tolerate determines the quality of your life. Most people tolerate too much because deep down they don't believe they deserve better. They stay in environments that belittle them because they think that's the best they can get. They avoid taking risks because they're scared of failing, not realizing that the real failure is staying exactly where they are. A changed mindset doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means refusing to let the imperfect parts decide your future. When your mindset shifts, your vocabulary changes. You stop saying I can't and start saying I'm capable. You stop saying I don't know how and start saying I'll figure it out. You stop saying I hope life gets better and start saying I'm going to make my life better. And that shift in language is not just motivational fluff, it's psychological rewiring. Your brain listens to the words you speak. Your life reflects the expectations you set. If you talk in limitation, you live in limitation. If you think small, you act small. If you believe you're average, you will never give yourself permission to become exceptional. Mindset is not about ignoring reality. It's about interpreting it in a way that empowers you instead of paralyzing you. When you develop a mindset of growth, you stop seeing challenges as signals to quit. You see them as invitations to rise. When you adopt a mindset of discipline, you learn to stop negotiating with your excuses. When you create a mindset of gratitude, you stop waiting for blessings and realize you already have resources to build with. When you embrace a mindset of worthiness, you stop chasing validation because you finally understand you don't need to be chosen when you can choose yourself. People think mindset shifts require dramatic moments, but often it's the accumulation of small realizations that slowly push you toward a bigger truth. It's noticing how exhausted you feel after spending time with certain people. It's recognizing how much time you lose scrolling, complaining, or comparing. It's understanding that the discomfort of growth is still better than the misery of staying stuck. It's that quiet, private decision you make when you say, I'm not going to keep living like this. And once that decision is made, the mind starts rearranging itself. Your thoughts get clearer, your priorities get sharper, your excuses get quieter, and you begin to feel something you may not have felt in a long time. Momentum. Momentum doesn't come from luck. It comes from the alignment between what you want and how you think. Nothing outside you can sustain lasting change if the inside of you is still fighting the new direction. A better job won't matter if you still feel unworthy. More money won't matter if you still think small. New opportunities won't matter if you're too afraid to take them. Healing won't matter if you keep replaying old wounds. A changed life cannot coexist with the same old beliefs. That's why so many people get the chance they prayed for but aren't able to keep it. Their mindset wasn't ready. They stepped into a bigger room but carried the same old doubts. They received the blessing but treated it with the same scarcity. They met the right person but loved with the same insecurities. Life was ready, but their mindset wasn't. The truth is, your mindset determines what you attract, what you accept, and what you walk away from. When you elevate your thinking, you stop settling because settling no longer feels normal. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't growing because you understand they're not supposed to understand you. You stop needing approval because you're too focused on the mission. And one day you look around and realize that nothing in your life improved by accident. It improved because you outgrew the version of yourself that kept accepting less. A powerful mindset makes you resourceful. It helps you see solutions where others see walls. It pushes you to try again when your feelings tell you to quit. It reminds you that your future is bigger than your frustration. With the right mindset, setbacks don't break you. They build you. Failures don't discourage you. They educate you. Rejection doesn't insult you. It redirects you. And fear doesn't stop you. It sharpens you. But none of this becomes real until you decide that you are done thinking in ways that keep you small. You have to want the change enough to challenge your own comfort. You have to want the growth enough to question your own limitations. You have to want the breakthrough enough to stop feeding the beliefs that work against you. And that's the hardest part. Unlearning the mindset that kept you surviving so you can finally learn the mindset that will help you start living. Growth requires you to confront what you've been avoiding. Whether it's your habits, your self-talk, your excuses, or the people you let influence you. It takes courage to admit that the person you need to become looks different from the person you are right now. But that courage is the doorway to change, and mindset is the key that unlocks it. When your mindset evolves, your entire world shifts in response because your world is a reflection of how you think, what you believe, and what you decide you deserve. The external world catches up to the internal world you build. And once your mind rises, the rest of your life has no choice but to rise with it. Energy is your most valuable currency, and most people spend it like they've got an unlimited balance, never stopping long enough to realize how expensive every distraction, every draining relationship, every unnecessary argument, and every aimless hour truly is. The world will take as much of your energy as you allow it to, and if you don't learn how to protect it, you'll wake up one day exhausted and confused, wondering why you're not further along, why your goals feel so far away, and why your life doesn't reflect the potential you know you have. Energy is not just about physical stamina. It's the emotional, mental, and spiritual fuel that determines your ability to focus, grow, build, and elevate. Everything you do, Every dream you chase, every problem you solve, every relationship you maintain requires energy, and the quality of your life is shaped by where you choose to invest it. People often talk about time management, but the real secret is energy management. Because you can have all the time in the world and still get nowhere if your energy is scattered, drained, or given away to the wrong situations. Your energy determines your clarity. When you're mentally drained, you can't think clearly, you can't make good decisions, you can't see opportunities, and you can't trust your own judgment. That's why stress, chaos, and toxic environments feel so heavy. They cloud your ability to function at your best. When your energy is low, even simple tasks feel overwhelming, and the goals you once felt excited about start feeling impossible. But when your energy is protected, preserved, and intentionally directed, you become sharp, efficient, and motivated. Your mind starts cooperating with your purpose instead of resisting it. Energy also determines your emotional stability. Many people think they have anger problems, sadness problems, or motivation problems, when what they really have are energy problems. They're worn down, depleted, and overstimulated. They're carrying burdens that don't belong to them, other people's issues, other people's expectations, other people's chaos. They're constantly reacting instead of choosing. When your energy is drained, you start tolerating things you wouldn't normally tolerate. You start shrinking in situations where you should be standing tall. You start giving passes to behavior you know is unacceptable. Not because you've changed your standards, but because you no longer have the energy to enforce them. This is why protecting your energy is not selfish. It's necessary. You can't show up as your best self if you're running on empty. Energy is also the foundation of your discipline. People blame themselves for lacking discipline, but discipline is hard when your energy is scattered. If your mind is overwhelmed, your emotions are unstable, and your environment drains you, how can you expect yourself to stay consistent? Consistency requires clarity. It requires strength. It requires focus. And all of that is directly tied to how you manage your energy. When your energy is aligned, discipline becomes a natural byproduct. You don't have to force yourself to chase your goals. You feel pulled toward them. You don't have to talk yourself into getting up and working. You're energized by your purpose. But when you let distractions drain you, everything feels like a chore. The truth is, you're not undisciplined. You're often just tired in all the wrong ways. Protecting your energy means understanding that not everyone deserves access to you. Some people are energy givers, and some are energy takers. Some people leave you inspired, and some leave you exhausted. Some relationships fuel your growth, and some attach themselves to your life like anchors, keeping you from moving forward. It's not about judging people. It's about recognizing the impact they have on your well-being. You have to become intentional about who you invite into your space, who you share your dreams with, who you allow to influence your mindset, and who you give emotional access to. Your energy is too valuable to waste on people who don't respect it. Protecting your energy also means being mindful of how you talk to yourself. Internal conversations can build you or break you. If your self-talk is full of doubt, negativity, and fear, your energy will reflect that. Your mind listens to every thought you repeat. It absorbs every worry, every insecurity, every criticism. And the more you feed yourself negativity, the more drained you become. This is why gratitude, positive self-talk, and mental boundaries matter. They are not motivational cliches. They are energy-saving strategies. They prevent your mind from sabotaging your progress. You have to learn to tell your mind what to focus on instead of letting it wander into negativity. Your focus is the gatekeeper of your energy. Whatever you give your attention to grows stronger. If you focus on problems, you feel drained. If you focus on possibilities, you feel empowered. If you focus on what's missing, you feel empty. If you focus on what's available, you feel resourceful. Most people don't realize that their energy is drained not by what happens to them, but by what they choose to give attention to. Not every battle deserves a reaction. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every situation deserves your time. Some things are meant to be ignored, walked away from, or released. When you understand this, you stop fighting battles that don't matter and start reserving your energy for the ones that do. Energy is also connected to your environment. The spaces you occupy either recharge you or drain you. A cluttered room creates a cluttered mind. A chaotic environment steals your focus. A negative atmosphere affects your mood. This is why cleaning your space, organizing your surroundings, and creating order in your life is more than just tidiness. It's energy protection. You're giving your mind room to breathe. You're creating an environment where focus can thrive instead of suffocate. Your habits shape your energy too. Overworking drains you. Oversleeping drains you. Overthinking drains you. Overcommitting drains you. Saying yes when you mean no drains you. Pretending to be okay when you're not drains you. Caring too much about what people think drains you. The key to preserving energy is learning balance, knowing when to push, when to rest, when to speak, when to stay silent, when to engage, and when to walk away. Balance is not a luxury, it's a form of self-respect. And respecting your energy is the highest form of valuing yourself. When you finally learn to protect your energy, your life shifts in powerful ways. You stop chasing validation and start chasing purpose. You stop agreeing to things that don't align with your future. You stop giving more than you can afford emotionally, mentally, or physically. You stop wasting time on conversations that go nowhere and people who drain you. You begin to feel lighter, clearer, stronger, and more in control. Your creativity increases. Your confidence grows. Your motivation returns. Your peace deepens. You start waking up with direction instead of dread. And you begin to realize that the version of you who was always stressed, overwhelmed, and exhausted was not the real you. It was the drained you. When your energy rises, your potential rises with it. When your energy is protected, your purpose has space to breathe. And when your energy is aligned, you become unstoppable in ways you once doubted were possible. Self-worth is not given, it's claimed. And the moment you finally understand that truth, something inside you shifts in a way that can change your entire life. Most people go through the world waiting for someone to validate them, to notice them, to select them, to confirm that they are enough. They base their value on how others treat them, what others think about them, and whether others approve of the choices they make. But that approach keeps you stuck because it hands your power to people who are often too consumed with their own lives to truly see yours. When you rely on outside approval, you become dependent on a source you can't control. And anything you can't control can destabilize you, discourage you, or destroy your confidence at any moment. Self-worth, real self-worth, comes from within. And until you decide that you matter, nothing outside of you will matter enough to create meaningful change. People underestimate how deeply their sense of worth affects every part of their lives. It influences the jobs they take, the relationships they stay in, the boundaries they set, the treatment they accept, and the goals they either chase or abandon. If you don't believe you deserve more, you won't reach for more. If you don't see yourself as valuable, you will settle for situations that reflect your doubts instead of your potential. Life will always rise or fall to the level of your self-worth. You could have talent, dreams, skills, intelligence, or opportunities, but if you think small, you will live small. If you believe you're unworthy, you will subconsciously sabotage blessings because you don't feel prepared to carry them. And if you measure your value based on the opinions of people who don't even value themselves, you will shrink every time their insecurities show up disguised as judgment or criticism. Claiming your worth means changing the inner narrative that has been shaped by years of disappointment, rejection, failure, or comparison. It means rewriting the script that says you're not enough, you're not capable, or you're not worthy of love, success, or peace. Too many people carry invisible wounds, words they heard growing up, moments where they were overlooked, experiences where they were dismissed or mistreated. Those wounds become beliefs, and those beliefs become habits. habits of playing small, habits of staying silent, habits of avoiding risks, habits of accepting less. Claiming your worth means confronting those old beliefs and refusing to let them lead your life anymore. Self-worth also means understanding that your value exists even when others don't acknowledge it. A diamond doesn't lose value because someone mistakes it for glass. Your worth doesn't disappear because someone else doesn't recognize it. People project their insecurities, their fears, their limitations, and their unresolved pain. When someone says you can't do something, what they often mean is they can't imagine themselves doing it. When someone treats you poorly, it speaks to their character, not your value. The mistake people make is internalizing the opinions of those who never truly saw them in the first place. You can't let people who lack vision define the limit of your potential. You can't expect those who don't love themselves to teach you how to love yourself, and you can't allow temporary people to leave permanent damage on your sense of worth. Claiming your value also requires setting boundaries, and that's where many people struggle. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They are the lines that protect your energy, your peace, your time, and your heart. When you value yourself, you stop giving unlimited access to people who treat you like an option. Stop allowing disrespect just because you don't want to upset someone. You stop prioritizing others so much that you neglect yourself in the process. Boundaries teach others how to treat you, but more importantly, they teach you how to treat yourself. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you say yes to something that strengthens you. Every time you walk away from something that doesn't align with your worth, you walk closer to the life you deserve. And every time you stop explaining your value to people who refuse to see it, you reinforce that you don't need their approval to validate your identity. Self-worth also shows up in the decisions you make when no one is watching. It's not just about how you let others treat you. It's about how you treat yourself. Are you feeding your mind with negativity or possibility? Are you taking care of your body or ignoring its needs? Are you chasing your goals or doubting them before you even start? Are you uplifting yourself or criticizing every flaw you notice? Your inner dialogue is the root of your external reality. If you speak to yourself like someone who is unworthy, unprepared, or incapable, your actions will reflect that belief. But when you speak to yourself with respect, courage, and compassion, you feel more capable of taking risks, stepping into new opportunities, and building a life that honors your potential. Another part of claiming your worth is understanding that you are not defined by your mistakes. Everybody has a past. Everybody has moments they regret. Everybody has chapters they don't want to reread. But your mistakes are lessons, not labels. They are experiences, not identities. Too many people drag their past into their future because they believe that one bad chapter means the whole story is ruined. But your value doesn't decrease because you've made mistakes. If anything, it increases because you learned, survived, and grew. The people who win in life are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who never let failure decide their worth. When you finally separate who you are from what you've been through, you free yourself to rise without apologizing for your journey. You also claim your worth by being selective about the environments you allow yourself to stay in. Not every job deserves your talent. Not every relationship deserves your loyalty. Not every circle deserves your presence. When you feel undervalued, overlooked, or unappreciated, that feeling is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that you're in the wrong environment. Flowers don't grow in every soil. Neither do people. Sometimes your value is too big for a place that was never designed to hold your potential. When you know your worth, you stop staying where you are merely tolerated. You start pursuing places where you are respected, supported, encouraged, and seen. And when you adjust your environment to match your value, your growth becomes inevitable. Claiming your worth also means having the courage to want more for yourself without feeling guilty. Society often teaches people to be small, humble to the point of invisibility, quiet about their dreams, and grateful for whatever they get. But real gratitude does not mean accepting less than what aligns with your purpose. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to dream boldly. You are allowed to raise your standards. You are allowed to evolve beyond the expectations people placed on you. And you are allowed to believe that your life can become bigger than anything you've seen so far. Wanting more doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you aware of your potential. When you truly claim your worth, you stop rushing. You stop chasing. You stop begging for people to stay. You stop proving yourself to those who already made up their minds. You stop shrinking yourself so others can feel comfortable. You start moving differently. You start choosing yourself even if others don't choose you. You start walking with an energy that says, I know what I bring to the table, and I won't settle for anything less than what aligns with my value. And that energy becomes powerful. It attracts opportunities that match your confidence. It attracts relationships that honor your heart. It attracts environments that support your growth. It attracts peace because you're no longer battling with your own self-doubt. The journey to claiming your worth is not always easy. It requires unlearning, healing, confronting, and sometimes starting over. It means disappointing people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. It means losing relationships that depended on your insecurities. It means stepping into a version of yourself that feels unfamiliar at first. But once you claim your worth, once you stand fully in it, once you stop asking for permission to be enough, you start living in a way that reflects who you were meant to be all along. In the end, everything comes down to one truth. Your life moves in the direction of your focus, your energy, and your self-worth. When you choose to focus, you stop letting distractions write chapters you were meant to author yourself. When you protect your energy, you stop giving power to the things that drain you and start fueling the things that build you. And when you finally claim your value, you stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing the life you truly deserve. You were not created to live small, exhausted, overlooked, or uncertain. You were made to grow, to rise, to evolve, to stretch, to outgrow, to outshine, and to outlive every doubt that ever tried to convince you otherwise. The moment you shift your mindset, the moment you guard your energy, and the moment you recognize your worth, the world around you must adjust to the standard you set. That's when opportunities start appearing. That's when clarity starts forming. That's when peace starts settling. That's when the life you've been dreaming of finally begins to feel possible because now you're aligned with it.